Right now, The Amazing Atheist is doing a charity drive with his channel. He has this video up where he says he'll give a certain amount of money per view that he gets on that video, and he's also encouraging people to donate their own money to a cause that'll basically help people in Africa who don't have access to clean drinking water get it. And I've seen a number of people complaining about this in the comments of his video. And there's two types. One is saying, oh, it's a scam, because he does have a very bad reputation with this type of thing. He has a record of collecting money from people, saying it's for other purposes when it just never happens. But this is different, though, because the charity drive is on the actual charity's website. He never sees any of the money, so that's not a real reason why. But the other reason why is they're saying that giving charity to African countries and third world countries is not a good idea. And let me explain the idea, because it's a bit complicated. Here's how it works. Normally, people need things because it's what they need to survive. And how do you get things to those people? Other people supply them. It's the market. You make a product, like people need to eat, obviously. Let's say that there's a need for sandwiches, and I start making sandwiches, and I sell them to you. Now, I'm taking in money from that, so it's profiting me, and obviously it makes jobs and stuff, but it's also helping the economy as a whole in the area. If I get crowded out by some other business, like Subway opens right next to me, then I can no longer sell sandwiches if everybody's going to them, because it's so much more convenient, and they sell it so much cheaper, probably bigger too. So at that point, it runs me out of business. And that's the problem when it comes to donating food to third world countries, because if you have these little farmers who are trying to desperately to sell their vegetables to people or sell their chicken meat or whatever it is, these people are producing the food. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to realize. The reason why people starve to death isn't because there's no food to give them. It's that they can't get it. And normally for two reasons. One, because it's difficult to allocate the resources to get the food to them. But the other is that they just don't have the money to do it. So it's based on this principle when we send money to Africa that these small farmers are going to be run out of business. It's the idea of a competitive market. Whoever is offering the best deal is obviously going to perform the best. Like if I got a mom and pop grocer and then Walmart opens right next to me, they're the better deal because they're offering their goods for less and people are going to go to them. If, say, the UN is supplying food to African countries, people are going to go to them instead of the African farmers because they're the best deal, obviously. They're not charging anything. And $0 for your food is pretty hard to beat, especially if you're trying to make any profit at all. So that's the argument against giving food to these countries. But we're not talking about food, we're talking about water. And there's two big differences between giving food to these countries and giving water to these countries. The first off is there isn't a big water market in Africa that we're destroying. It's not like there's people who go around selling water bottles and that's how they make their living and it's an important part of the economy. Selling food is an important part of the economy for every single country on earth because everybody needs it. And everybody needs water too, but here in this country we don't like go to water places where you buy water from a building in the same way you buy food at a restaurant or from your grocer. You might buy pop or something, but for the most part we just have water on tap in our sinks. And they don't have that. They have to go out and get it from wherever it is. Sometimes it's miles away, and they have to carry it by any means necessary, even if it means taking a big old container and carrying it on your back. There's no convenient way for them to get it, like there is a convenient way for them to get food. It's just that they don't have the money for it. And the second issue is their water isn't clean. They can die drinking it because there's no way to know whether it's clean or not. We, for the most part, know our water is clean in the first world because we have people who check that. Our water comes from the tap. It's not just taken from the ground. Like where I live right now, the groundwater on its own is very, very dirty. But once it's purified, it's drinkable. That's the issue. They don't know whether their water is clean or not. And part of what's going on is in Africa, they're developing methods to filter the water so that they can get clean water. It's not just giving them water, it's giving them tools to take the water they already have and make it so they can drink from it. That's what the purpose is, and that's the two main differences. I understand the argument against just supplying food for these countries because it's short term and it is driving people out of business, but with what's going on with these water projects, it is long term and there's no business that's being driven to death. In fact, it's preventing plenty of deaths, and that's basically the gist of the argument. There is no harm in doing these programs that help people get clean drinking water in third world countries because it's a totally different issue. It's not hurting the market, it's not hurting their ability to lift themselves out of poverty, it's simply helping them to live. And that's all I got to say about that.